Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Setting up a round piece in a vise to drill in a drill press can be kind of fussy. I like to do it this way. With a center finder on the end of a rule, I strike a line across the end of the part. Then I strike a line down the top, right in line with the center finder. The easiest way for me to do that is just to, since I have that line on the end, take the square, lay it up against the end, go from the mark on back. Then, once I have that line set, I want to drill two holes. I want to have one back here at the end of this bore hole so that any chips can get out of it. And then I want to have another one up here for a set screw to lock into the dimple. So, I scribe a line, and I just take the little automatic center punch and punch a hole in there. And I'll go in there and tap it again with a prick punch to make the hole a little deeper, and then open it up with a center punch to get the right 89 to 90 degree end on it. And that way, when I go to drill it, the drill bit will just naturally want to go into that hole, and all I have to do is just line up the end of the drill bit with the center punch, poke it through, and I know I'm exactly on center. And when I go through this one, I'll go through the center of this side of the block and on through and drill out the other side. Now the other hole will not be exactly centered. It's going to be close, but anytime you drill a hole and break through a wall and then go into another one, it tends to just wander just a little bit because there's no way to center punch that hole. Unless, of course, you have a large enough hole on the top here that you can lay out the hole in the middle. But since this is a clearance for chips, it's really not necessary. The other thing it's going to do is if I have any problem with this spinning in the chuck, the tailstock chuck, or I'll have a problem with it spinning in the three-jaw chuck, but I can always put a bar through that hole, and that will lock that die stock so that it cannot turn, and then I can just crank the part on into the die. Now this is only going to be doing 1/4-20 and smaller. I don't have any dies this small diameter that are any bigger than 1/4-20, and you can see there's not much wall thickness on that one. Most of them are number 10 on down. I have a number 12 die, but that's a larger diameter. So I'm going to be making a die stock for that. Similar design, but a larger die stock, just because the die itself is larger. And I want to have enough wall thickness here for this set screw to have a good bite. Don't want to have just a little skimpy wall in there so that the set screw trips out the first thing I use it. So that's what I'm up to this morning. Now I'm going to go out in the garage and use the big drill press because I don't have a little drill press down here. Might be a nice thing to have. First, the prick punch. With a little prick in there already from the automatic punch, it's easy to get one started. Then, the center punch. I want to make sure I still got it straight up and down for drilling. Punching those, I could feel the part rolling. But because I still got my scribe line, all I have to do is line it back up again and tighten the vise. There we go. Now when I drill those, they'll be on center and straight down through. This one only has to go just through the outer layer. This one has to go through the top and then down through the bottom. But I think I'm going to take it out of this and put it in the big vise to drill the 1/2 inch hole. Still can use the same thing. I still got the scribe line. I just hook it up in the big vise and drill the 1/2 inch hole. Now, even though this set of drill bits is not really very accurate, it's close enough for what I'm doing. Number 25 drill. With a pair of micrometers, you can estimate where you actually landed. We're a little under on the hole. The shank is 0.149, so we're a 1/2 thou under. Drill bits are only accurate within 1 thou. Number drills you would think would be a little better than that, but you know, you take what you get. And when you come out to the tip of the drill, it's a little undersized from that. Could be part of the drawing process is pulled that tip down just a little bit and they never bothered to correct it. That's okay. It's going to drill the hole that I need to put a 1024 thread right there. Now I'll go out in the garage and do this drilling. Well, the battery died, so the first part of the film was lost. So drilling the number 25 holes, first one is the one out near the edge here for the tap. Second one was a pilot hole for the back one. Was lost. So I didn't get to give you the brilliant explanation of how I squared this up in the vise. So we'll go back through it just real quick. I drilled this hole in the small vise. Then I set it into this vise. Then I use this square. It's actually a bevel, an adjustable bevel, but it is set to 90 degrees, so it is a square. I lined up the two lines on the end that I drew downstairs. I have all the lines so that this was straight up and down. Easy enough. Clamped it up, double checked it. Went to change the drill and realized that the battery was dead on the camera and it was not running. So anyways, now we're going to drill some holes. We'll give this a shot of industrial spray, number 2W755, which seems to work pretty good, made by Dayton, Demcoat. Used it on several things. I've used it on the saw. And here we go. I am going to do one other thing. I'm going to throw a clamp on this because I don't want it wobbling around. There we go, right there. I don't know why that quill is stalling. Acts like the belt's slipping. This drill press is underpowered. Oh, the chuck was slipping. This drill has been chewed up. So evidently I set on one of the high spots. That's going to have to go downstairs and get adjusted. Can't have a drill shank that's chewed up like that, otherwise, as you can see, the drill bit stops going through the hole. Now we have half-inch hole all the way through, a number 25 drill hole through there. So this is ready to be tapped. One thing I don't like about oil is the chips stick to it. Cut really well. Didn't even heat up. It's the advantage of having a sharp drill. Too bad about the shank. Oh well. Can be fixed. .1024 Chinesium tap and anchor loop. Then we just get it started and crank it on through. Now this is a Chinesium tap. I have to be very careful. Normally I don't back off, but this is my only 1024 tap. And we're through. Ta-da! A little bit of denatured alcohol takes it right off. Very nicely. So, holes tapped. Cross hole is drilled, and that's really just more for letting chips out, although most of the chips should stay on this side of the cutter, but you know. And it also allows me to see the end of the threaded rod as it comes through. Countersink the hole to get rid of that sharp edge. With the hole being not round in the beginning, it kind of jumps around, but it ends up doing a good job. Because I'm only hitting the two edges, it hops back and forth. As soon as it gets down so it's hitting all the sides, it stops most of the chatter. Now, no sharp edges. All set. This is done. Put a set screw in that. We'll call her good. Hole tapped. Start the set screw. Insert the die. Then tighten the set screw. Now the die is ready to go.
This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.